What's up guys, this is Meddi, welcome back to my channel, thanks for checking out this video. Today we're going to be talking about the Debug stick, which is this weird glowing stick that I'm holding. I first showcased this stick a couple days ago on my TikTok and it did super well, so you already know I had to make a full video about it. Also, to my American viewers, before we begin, I just want to tell you guys to be careful, please. We have some crazy stuff going on in our country on top of the pandemic that's been happening, so please be careful when you're going out. Try to stay at home as much as you can, and yeah, stay safe, guys. We're going to kick things right off by grabbing a debug stick out of this chest. If it's your first time getting a debug stick, run the command on screen. Make sure you are in Java 1.13 and above, creative, with cheats on, or else you won't be able to get it and use it. So if you did not know, most blocks in Minecraft have this property called the block state. A block state is basically an aspect of that block that is unique to itself. So for instance, if it started snowing right now and there was a patch of snow that landed on this grass block in front of me, the snowy block state on the grass block would change from false to true because it would become snowy. Similarly, every time this crop in front of me grows, the crop has this block state called the age, and every time it grows, the age will go up by 1 until it gets to 7, which means that the block is fully grown. Now you're probably thinking, okay, what do all these block states have to do with the debug stick? Well, the debug stick allows you to manually change the block states of a block. For our first example, we're going to look at this oak stair. Let's start left clicking on it with the debug stick in hand. As you can see on the bottom text right underneath the stair there, you can see that we're cycling through the different block states of the block. So we're on the half block state right now, which changes if the block is right side up like it is right now, or if it's going to be upside down. If we click it again, we're on the shape block state, which changes what shape the stair is going to be in. Is it going to be straight like this, or is it going to be a corner stair? Now that we know how to cycle through the block states of a block, how are we actually going to change the block state? If we left click one more time, you can see that we're on the half block state. As I said earlier, the half block state changes whether the block is right side up or upside down. Now we can right click to change the block state that we're on. So if we right click, our stair is going to flip upside down like that. If we right click one more time, it's going to go back to the right side up stair because half only has two properties, top or bottom. Top or bottom. Now let's take a look at the wheat block. If we left click the wheat block with our debug stick, you can see that the only block state we have is the age block state. So if we right click the age block state, you can see that as we click it, the crop is going to grow until it gets to stage 7 and the wheat is now fully grown. If we right click it again, it's going to reset back to age 0. So as I said earlier, for our last example, we're going to go look at grass. Now, the grass block only has the snowy block state, meaning that if we right click the snowy block state, we're going to get this snowy grass. This has a really cool texture on the top that we wouldn't be able to see without using the debug stick. Now that you know how to use the debug stick, the rest of the video is just going to cover some cool tips and tricks that I like to use in my builds. So the first one is the redstone lamp. If we left click, we see that there's the lit block state. This toggles whether the light is on or off. If we right click, we can see that it turns the lamp on without having to add any sort of redstone power going into the lamp. Pretty cool. Now we're going to take a look at the piston block. So if we left click, we can see that there are two block states for the piston. Extended, which tells us whether or not the piston is extended or not, or facing, which tells us what direction the piston is facing. So let's check out the extended one. If we right click on it, you can see that we create this really interesting block with a hole in the middle. If we click it again, you'll see that it returns back to the non-extended form. Now, if we check out facing, you can see that we can change what direction the block faces. Now, doors and beds are pretty interesting because they have two halves, and we can debug stick each half of the block individually. So we can actually change the bottom of a door to be the top half of the door by going to the half block state right here. Now, if we sneak, holding shift and right click, we can change it to the top half of the door, and we can actually now break the top half of the door. And now we're just left with this really interesting half door. The bed is also interesting because it has two halves again, so we can find the part block state here. As you can see, it's currently the foot, which is the end of the bed, and we can hold shift and right click with our debug stick to change it to the head of the bed. Now we can actually break the original head, and now we're left with this floating head of the bed. Now I'm going to show you a way to create these cool chain link fences using walls and chains. So we're going to look at this wall here and find the east block state. Here we are. We're going to right click it once and you'll see that we create this little bit right here sticking out. If you click it one more time, right click one more time, you'll see that it brings it up even higher. So now we have this pretty interesting looking wall that's actually connected to the chain. If we go over here and find the west block state, right here, we can do the same thing, right click twice, and there we go. We've created this chain link fence between two walls. This next one is the iron trapdoor, and I personally love to debug stick this because we can make an open trapdoor without having to actually have the trapdoor be powered. We can just change the open block state, which is right here, from false to true by right clicking. And look at that, we have a vertical trapdoor without any power going into it. Here's an example of how to use the extended pistons. As you can see, I've extended this piston here by right clicking a piston and turned them into wheels for this pretty cool sports car. The tutorial for this is actually on my TikTok, so definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. Stairs are another one of my personal favorites. So we have this wall here, this corner, and we can use the debug stick to make this corner stair look a little bit better. So typically in order to get a corner stair, you'd have to place blocks like this and like this in order to get this shape. However, if we break these, let's use the debug stick to get the same exact shape. We're going to left click till we find the shape block state, and then we're going to right click until we find the corner shape that we want, just like that. So now we have a corner stair without needing to connect any other stairs next to it. It's just staying by its own right there. Before this video is over, it's also worth noting that you should be very careful when placing blocks around other blocks that have been debug sticked. If you update any of the blocks next to a block that has been debug sticked, this is not a natural way for a block to sit, so if you update the block next to it, it will update back to its normal form. Similar to this, if we have this extended piston and we update the block next to it, it's going to extend back out and in again and go back to its normal form. So guys, that is it for the debug stick video. I hope you learned something. Hope you learned something new here that you can use on your own builds. And yeah, all my links are in the description as usual, as well as all the mods and shader packs that I used. So go down there and check it out. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day and please stay safe.